Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everyone. I think today is the last lesson for that chapter. So we have a basis, right? Basis. Page number 144. Page number 144. So the mind arises dependent on basis. Except in immaterial realms, arūpa, and non-percipient realm. So as you know that in material realms, there is no matter, right? Material form. So in material realm, there is only mind. Just mind exists, right? Just mind exists. So the basis are material support for the occurrence of cetas and cetasika. So therefore, in immaterial realms, there is no basis, right? So therefore, except in immaterial realms. Another one is non-percipient realms. Actually, this is a realm, as Sinya said, there is no mind. There is only material form, right? Material form. Even the rebirth linking consciousness, that is not a mind, just material form, right? So that is very weird, very weird. So the beings who are born in immaterial realm, so they discuss that material form, right? So according to the power of meditation, the power of the mind, meditative mind, so they became immaterial Brahma. So just like that, some people discussed the mind, right? So they think that because of the mind we have a lot of problem, right? Because of the mind, so we have a lot of problem, right? Even though you have food, enough dwelling, everything, right? Because of the mind, we have a problem, right? So just like that, thinking like this, the living beings who think like this. So of course they have to attain the fit jhana, right? The fit material jhana. Because of that, when they died, they became non-percipient Brahma, right? So there is no mind in non-percipient realm. So therefore, there is no basis, right? There is no basis to depend on, because there is no mind, right? So except those immaterial realms and non-percipient realms. The mind, here the mind means cetasikas, arises dependent on basis, right? Dependent on basis. So those bases are material support for the occurrence of cetas and cetasika. So there are 6 bases. We have the I'm base, Cakkapala. with an iron base. Actually, iron sensitivity inside, right? Iron sensitivity inside. So based on iron base, depending on iron base, so iron consciousness arises, right? Iron consciousness arises. For those who do not have iron sensitivity, for those who are blind, so there is no iron consciousness, right? There will be other consciousness, ear consciousness, etc., right? Number 2, ear base. For those who are deaf, they do not have ear base, right? Ear base. For that reason, they cannot hear. There is no ear consciousness. Number 3, nose base, tongue base, body base, right? Body sensitivity. So the last one is heart base, or heart base here, right here. Actually, it is not actually heart. So the blood inside the heart. So when you keep your pen like this, there is a little hole, right? Little hole. So the blood exists inside the heart, such amount, small amount, right? Not the blood, not even the blood. So the material form in the blood because of the karma, right? We call it kamaja. Kamaja rupa, right? Kamaja rupa. It's not actually heart. So inside the blood in the heart, there is a material form caused by karma, right? Caused by karma. Heart base. In other words, we can call it the base of the mind. Some people may not be able, may not believe, may not agree to say, to interpret heart base. So that we may call it the base of the mind, the same, right? In Pali, hadaya-vatthu. So let's talk about the last one, the base of the mind. To refer to the base of the mind, Pakiṇṇaka, the last Abhidhamma text, the last text of Abhidhamma, 7 Abhidhamma texts, mention 2 words, vatthu, base, or rupa, that matter. Rupa, just a particular rupa, right? Particular rupa. That matter independent on which the mind element and mind consciousness element occurred, right? So there is 2 words, vatthu, base, or that matter, right? So actually, Pakiṇṇaka, the last Abhidhamma text, just mentioned in general, right? Just mentioned in general. Vatthu, the base, or the matter, right? The matter independent on which the mind element and mind consciousness occurred. The commentators added the word hadaya to refer to the base of the mind. So hadaya-vatthu is not mentioned in Abhidhamma text. So only the commentator, they added the word hadaya, right? The word hadaya. So the word hadaya can be defined into 2 ways, heart or the mind. It can be interpreted in 2 ways, right? The heart or the mind. If we take it as a heart, it means that the mind arises dependent on heart base, right? Heart base. That is also very logical. It is also practical, right? For those we are angry, right? The blood from the heart, beat a lot, right? Beat very quickly, right? And also when we love somebody, we can feel here, right? We can feel here. So therefore, it's also very logical. When I interviewed with the serious meditator, they can also experience that one. So actually last week I share one story, right? So one of the lady who meditate a lot, and she talk about her experience. So when she go to shopping, so before when he crossed the rope, you know, he has a very her mind is always concentrated, full of mindfulness. So therefore, whatever what she do is very mindful. Then before she crossed the road and she saw the car, right? The actual car over there, and one car here in the eye, another car here. So there are 3 cars at once, right? Right away at once. Then she noticed. Before she didn't notice that much. So that is the first experience, right? So when she saw the car, the actual car is there. Another car that is also material form, actual material form, here in the eye. Maybe because it's the eye consciousness, right? The eye consciousness see the actual car. Then another car here, in the heart, right? In the heart. Actually, she didn't learn any Abhidhamma. So she just share what she experienced, right? What she experienced. So therefore, we can say that then we see the car with our eye sensitivity, right? So eye sensitivity can see the car. But another, this is not a eye sensitivity. This is a we can call it fighter consciousness or receiving consciousness, right? The receiving consciousness receive the pictures of the car in the heart, right? In the heart. That is what I listen in YouTube. The Burmese lady. So another one is I interview with the serious meditator here in Singapore, and he said that so it is right that the mind arises based on heart base, right? The heart. Because for those who are mindful and full of concentrations, they can experience that one. Suppose he give an example of mosquito bite their body, right? Their body. Then there is a feeling here. Then the feeling go to the brain, right? So therefore, how to say the feeling of pain feeling, right? Painful feeling start in the heart, then go to the brain. Then only they know the pain feeling, right? So therefore, by looking at that one, and we can have I think that is a very logical to interpret, vatthu, the last one, heart base or the base of the mind, right? The base of the mind. Another one is a very clear example is that in the medical science, if someone brain is not working, so they decide death, right? But nowadays there are many people whose brain is not working, but they survive, right? They survive. Recently, 1 week ago, one of our senior members died because of that, right? The brain is not working with the support, life support, right? Support machine. Because of the with the support of the machine, still survive, right? So family decided to stop, right? The machine support, right? So because of that, so there are, I think that looking at that one also, brain not working, but the heart, right? The heartbeat is still going on. So according to medical experience, so the heart is the less organs, right? I don't know whether it's correct. The heart, is there any, or there is no lady with the nurse, special nurse? So the heart is the last organ that stop, right? Even the brain is not working. The heart is still working for a few minutes, right? But actually, I interviewed with one of my students who is working in that field, right? And she said that is correct. So even though brain stop, but the heartbeat is still going on, right? Going on. So looking at all these examples, I think that what the commentator said is very logical, right? Very logical. Here, heart base, right? Heart base. So other than eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, and tongue consciousness and body consciousness, other than these 10 consciousness, 10 chetas, so the rest of the chetas are called mind element, mind consciousness element, right? So mind element and mind consciousness elements arises depending on heart base, right? Any question? Okay. We have a microphone.
Bhante, the heart base, you indicated that somewhere center of the abdomen is
yeah.
Here, is it? How is that so?
Here, right?
Yeah, indicated here, because normally we think that the heart is higher up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. So here, there, right? Normally I know. Thank you. So if we take it as a heart, it means the mind arises depending on heart base, right? Heart base. If we take it as the mind, it means the mind arises independent on the mind base, right? We can also interpret the same way, the mind base, right? It's also not wrong. The reason is, in Pali Canon, so hadaya is often used to denote the mind, like a hariyangama, the one that go straight to the heart or straight to the mind, right? Straight to the mind. But sometimes, even in English, we use the heart, right? How do you say? Heart of gold, right? She has a heart of gold, right? That means she has a beautiful mind, right? Beautiful mind like this. So even in English, so we use the word heart indicating the mind, right? Indicating the mind. So if we take it, hadaya as a mind, we can interpret the mind base, right? The mind base. But the commentaries clearly interpret hadaya as a heart here, right? Heart here. Any question? Okay. Okay, very good, very good. Learn by heart, right? You need to learn by heart 89 chetas. A very beautiful prophet, right? You must learn by heart 89 chetas. Otherwise, you will collapse, right? So I think that the crowd is still lesser and lesser. Because I think many people who cannot learn by heart, 89 chetas, they give up, right? So, in that prophet also, the heart means the mind, right? Heart means the mind. Okay, so let's go. The base and the realms. So as you all know that we have 31 planes of existence, right? 31 planes of existence. All the bases are available in the sense sphere realms. So as you all know that we have 12 sense sphere realms, 4 woeful planes, and 1 human realm, and 6 heavenly realms. Altogether 11 sense sphere realms. So in those realms, all the bases are available. So of course, except in the case of those who are born blind and deaf, right, etc. Some people, they do not have, they do not have a nose sensitivity, right? So they do not know the smell, right? Some people, they lost tongue sensitivity, so they cannot experience taste, right? So there are many people, especially who underwent cancer operation, right? So they do not have they lost their tongue sensitivity. So for that reason, they cannot experience food, right? So they just eat it. There's no taste, right? They do not know it. So except those cases, so in the sense sphere realms, all the bases are available. But here, nose base and tongue base and body base are not available in the 5 material realms. So we have a 65 material realms. Among the 16, so one realm is called non-percipient realms. So in non-percipient realms, no any basis, right? No any basis. But among the 55 material realms, no base, tongue base, and body base not available. The reason is, so as you know that the Brahmas, the Arupa Brahma, 5 material Brahmas, so they don't have a nose base. They cannot experience smelling, right? They don't have a tongue base, because the reason they are not eating. So we call it pitipaka. They eat just joy, right? Pitipaka, rapture. They actually that is a how to say that? That is a just a metaphor. They do not eat food, any food, so they can survive millions and billions of years, right? Because of the power of meditative mind. Even the human realms. So if you meditate well, you can survive for 7 days without eating anything, right? You can survive. Some people more than 7 days, right? More than 7 days. So here, so I say 5 material Brahmas, they don't have a nose base, tongue base, and body base. Even though you touch them, they cannot experience, right? They will not experience. The reason is, these 3 bases are absent in the Brahma realms because they are purely the objects of sensory craving. We smell something because of craving. We want it, right? And we eat something because of sensory craving. Some people are very greedy, that, right? So they eat a lot, right? They go many places to eat, just to eat, right? So the tongue is purely for sensory craving, right? And also the body. The body also for purely sensory craving. For the Brahma, they do not have such a sensory craving, right? So actually, so they just have a rupa tanha and arupa tanha. They just have a craving for meditative bliss, right? They just have a craving for the jhana. Other than that, they don't have any sensory craving, right? Sensory craving. For that reason, the no base, tongue base, and body base are not available in the 5 material realms. In the immaterial realm, there's no any other base, right? There's no body at all. So you might think that they don't have a nose, they don't have a tongue, they don't have a body. You might think like this, not like this. The commentary said that, right? According to commentary, the Brahmas from the 5 material realms have a nose, tongue, and the body organs, but they lack sensitivity, they don't have its sensitivities, right? Some people who do not have a 10 sensitivity, they cannot experience the food, right? Some people who do not have a eye sensitivity, they cannot see, right? So just like that, even though they have nose, tongue and body organs, so they don't have a sensitivity, right? So for that reason, so they do not experience smelling, tasting, touching. So smelling, tasting, touchings are purely for the sensory craving, because of the sensory craving, right? So those Brahma, they don't have sensory craving, kāmatana, in Pali kāmatana. So for that reason, they don't need those one, right? Because of power of meditation, because of the power of the mind, they don't have it. So even though they don't have those craving, sensitivity, they still have organs, right? Just like human beings, right? Their appearance is just like human beings. So any of these bases are not available in the immaterial realms, arūpaloka. So there is no material form in the immaterial realms. Therefore, there is no base in those realms. It's quite clear, right? Quite clear. So in material realms, there is no material form. For that reason, there is no basis. So the basis are material support, right? For the mind. But they don't have material form. So therefore, in immaterial realms, there is no basis, right? And then you have to take note this one, that is very important. So based on this one, we have to analyze the mind, right? By way of mind, consciousness. So we have to take note this one. In the immaterial realms, there is no basis, right? So the last one, no basis are available in the non-percipial realms, asinya sada, as well. So actually it is not mentioned in Abhidhamma Sangha, but we have to take note this one as well, right? So there is no mind in this realm, so therefore there isn't any mind space, because there is no mind, right? But they still have some material form, but there is no mind. For that reason, we don't need any basis, right? For the mind. So what you have to take note is number 3. So that is very important, right? It's very important. Any question up to here? So we have 4 immaterial realms. We have 1 non-percipient realm, right? So later in the 5th chapter, we have to learn 31 planes of existence, right? 31 planes of existence. So before we learn analysis, so you have to take note this one, consciousness elements. We have 7 consciousness elements. Comprehensive Manual of Abhidhamma, page number 146. Page number 146. Oh, we have here. You are here. Is it correct that even though the brain died? I think it's good to clarify here. And she doesn't agree. No need to sorry. No need sorry. We need the truth.
On science base, a person can die. No more heart. No more heart. No more heartbeat.
No more heartbeat. Okay.
Yeah, but there's still brainwave. I'm sure you know, like one of a well-known our. You know, he's on a respirator, correct? But the heart not functioning anymore. When the heartbeat is because of the ventilator, the machine that makes the heart beat.
But even though you use machine, but the heart, the heart is still functioning. Not the heart. That means the blood in the heart is still functioning, But here,
But the machine is the
heart-based,
one that push the blood round.
that is
I mean, it's
actually, you use,
scientific based.
yeah, I mean, you use machine, right?
Push,
Yeah.
to make the heart beat. So when the heart beat, it pushes the blood through the whole body, right? And the question now is, I wanted to ask, but you know, if a person is on a machine, so you need somebody to off the machine. So who? I mean, when you off the machine, it's like stopping that life, correct? No. So this,
At that time, though,
there's
so
no
because of the machine, the heart is still
beat.
functioning.
Yes.
But the brain, how about the brain?
Not functioning.
No, not functioning.
Yes.
The point is here, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's just like when somebody die on the, you know, when somebody had a road traffic accident and they want to donate their heart, they want to donate their kidneys, they want to donate their eye, right? So the doctor cannot say, oh, the person died already, can remove. We don't do that because it's not ethical. So what happened is they will put the person on a machine.
Okay.
Then they will look at the brain wave.
The brain wave.
Yes. But then the thing is this. Then let's say if I put my loved ones on the machine,
Okay.
then how long can I put the person on the machine?
Yes.
So if I stop the machine,
Yeah.
will I regret? Will I feel guilty that I stopped the machine?
I didn't know. You are not killing intentionally. Right?
But there's no point prolonging a person who's
Yeah, I agree on that.
But then a lot of people will ask the doctors to off the machine. But is it fair for the doctor to decide to off the machine?
I mean, of course, the doctor should listen the family or the patient, right? Family or the patient.
Yeah, but the family can say
Even,
that,
of course, it depends on the family wish.
yeah,
The family who want to prolong the life, right?
yeah,
Then they can decide
Yeah.
to prolong
yeah,
as long as they want,
Yeah.
right? But if they decide to stop machine support,
yeah,
I think it's okay. It's okay
It's
because
okay.
we are not killing intentionally. We don't want our beloved ones suffer from it, right? No, the point here is when somebody dies, it is the brain
yeah.
is the first or the heart.
The
beat
heart
is
can
the
go.
first.
The heart can go
Okay.
because the heart, we can put the heart on the machine straight away, and you will have oxygen. Your heart will beat, and you will have your, you know, the ECG very normal. You know that. So
What I mean is in normal case,
yeah,
suppose we are not using machine support.
yeah. the heart
Suppose
will-
somebody die right now.
but we don't know. We really don't know.
Oh, we don't know. Okay. Please microphone. Okay.
For my father case, the
No, I mean, I need actually.
I know, not without any machine,
Okay.
without any machine.
Okay.
The heart will get weaker and weaker, no
Okay.
pulse rate, until the heart just stop beating.
No, actually, you cannot see the brain wave, huh?
No,
No, what I mean is I need the medical science.
Yeah, I mean,
What the
I mean
medical
is,
science mean, of course.
the heartbeat will definitely get weaker and weaker.
So? Yeah, actually, what I interviewed,
do data research, and we say so many thousand data that we have collected,
Yeah.
and this is what happened. But so far, it is not a profitable research. You know, most of us do research because we want to do something for society that benefits society, but this doesn't benefit society at all.
but I think that many people have done research for that. Maybe I don't know exactly, but according to this, what I say is according to Buddhist literatures, right? Especially according to commentaries. According to commentaries.
But you can go internet and read
I think
other
so.
people's
I think so.
research.
Yeah,
Yes.
have to find out in the internet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, any question? No, okay.
Sorry, I'm a bit lost. So the point here is that medical science says that the point of death is when the brain dies.
Yeah,
But Buddhism, according to commentaries, the point of death is when the heart
Yeah,
dies.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the point, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. And then after the discussion, still no clarity, right? But that's the point.
Of
right?
course, yeah, still not clarifying yet. Is there someone who is from medical background? Oh yeah, okay, give it to.
Let's say if somebody is 100 years old and die in the sleep,
Yeah, yeah.
but you don't know whether the brain die first or the heart stop.
Okay,
Right.
I think we need to
Then
find
it's-
out in the internet.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. Then what happened is the next day in Singapore you need to certify death. Or else you cannot go and cremate the body. Nobody will cremate the body for you.
yeah,
So you ask the health people to come and inspect. And it's so many hours after death. So normally if the 100 years old lady or man have a lot of medical history,
yeah,
so it's time for her. I mean, she'll die or he will die. So they will just give you a death certificate.
yeah.
They won't bring you to hospital and put on that sort of thing.
Yeah. So, okay. Have to clarify now.
For this question, I have been pondering for over 3 years to get a conclusion. I mean, in all honesty on this is that now the question is brain dead considered as physically dead? Because I do know when I do research on that, for you to classify brain dead is for the purpose of harvesting the organs to save the life. If you look through the history, it started in America. It started all this, is it? Now for our part, we haven't gone through Buddhism. From the Buddhist point of view, I have a different perspective. Now when I'm going to die, I will be suffering. Yes. I will be exhausting my bad karma. You don't know. Right? But if you pull out, say I'm brain dead, and then you pull out my machine, I will have some residual bad karma with me, which I'll bring forward the next life. Okay, now to establish on that, you put this way now. There is such thing as both linking consciousness, right? Residual karma. Now, you look into a class, for example, in a student studying music, for example. Why some of the children are prodigy? One of them, they are not. These are the past karma that they bring forward. You see that? Same thing as genius as well. For me, I mean, as a practicing Buddhist, you spend all the time here by doing something useful for yourself. That, in that respect, I believe in the birth linking consciousness. Whatever I'm doing now in this life, I try to learn as much as possible, whatever it is, so the next life will happen to come back on this earth. Take for example a computer, right? A lot of people have a phobia, they don't know what to do. For me, I go in. If I come up with the next one, computer to me maybe the basic I know. You go on, you see. So this has to do with different individual. What is the perspective, right? But for me, like now, to be honest, when MBDF has a web page, I became coordinator. I learned to do coding. I need to, for example, Bhante, all his notes will be uploaded to YouTube. You need to share and make to our web page. You need to do coding yourself. So I'm learning that and I do it. So there's nothing to refer. So the same thing is now regarding the brain dead thing, see. My concern is that one day you cannot give an answer. Exactly what point in time a person died? The heart or the brain? You see? I also remember one thing in the Theravada, in the Tibetan practice, when the person died, they don't touch the body for at least how many hours, no? You see that? Unlike some looking at water, they don't touch it. Hopefully for the consciousness around to expire, to lift the body. Right? Have that been done? So they call it the Bhante stage in Tibetan style, see? Right? So they don't
even the Chinese, right? Even the Chinese, they do not touch the body.
Yes, they don't touch.
Yeah. When the dying person of the body, right?
Yes.
Body or dying person,
Yes.
they do not touch because the
soul
touch is very strong that
Yes.
it may affect their mind, right?
Yes. All right. Of course, that's why for the Chinese, we have 5 days, 7 days a week. This is the result so that, they believe it's a conscious of soul to lift the body completely. But then for the Tibetan, even longer than that, because Bhante stage today. So my question I want to answer, when a person dies, at what point in time that the consciousness lift the body, the brain death or the physical death?
Very good
Until
question.
today, I have not an answer.
He have been collecting all the data for more than 3 years, right? He asked me 3 years ago. And he made me a hard time for me because in 2015 I teach dependent origination, right? Now because of Sankhara, rebirth linking consciousness, right? So by the time he asked the question, what time exactly? What time? We die, right? Consciousness leave the body, right? But I think that according to the Buddhist commentaries, Pali commentaries, so that the brain function stop. Then after a few minutes, the heartbeat, right? The heartbeat. Sorry? Pokala?
I was reading one of the subsects of the Buddhism. Then there's one school called the Pulgala Vedians. That means they are right, isn't it? They say it is transmitted, like your karma is being transmitted to the next life.
We can call, of course, karma, not transmission. We do not use the word transmission, right? It's very simple way. The process of the mind, right? So we have traces of the mind. Even now, when my moment arises and passes away, another my moment arises. Just like that, death consciousness arises, then disappear. After death consciousness, then rebellion consciousness arises that way, right? Not transmission, right? But of course, it carry the the power, right? Power. Okay, I think it's very okay. Question. Okay.
So I see a lot of discussion. So if I summarize,
Yeah.
So in science we say that death is when the brain is dead, and then in Buddhism we say rebirth consciousness, or rebirth linking consciousness. So when the rebirth linking consciousness move on to another form, we say has left the body or left this world. So it's quite close to science in the sense that we say when we look at the brain wave, it's basically flat. It means in Buddhism we say the rebirth linking has moved on. Can I say that?
We cannot move on. Just the death consciousness disappear. Then after that, rebellion consciousness arises.
Yes. So
That's not
consciousness, left consciousness is.
If we use the word move on, that means the same consciousness. That is a very big issue in Buddhism. So the Buddha said that it is a malicious wrong view. The Buddha used malicious wrong view. If we do not clear in that point, it is very wrong view, right?
So, okay, in that case,
it's not move on, but how to say that? When consciousness disappears, another consciousness arises, right?
So we should say death consciousness that basically is the end. Huh?
But in theory, actually we learn mind process in theory, but we do not know what point of time. As Mr. Chin said that when the consciousness, death consciousness lead the body, right? But not now. So when I teach dependent originations, I will come back that topic again. So using the Pali Canon, right? What the Pali Canon say. So Pali Canon mentioned 3 points, right? So I think today no time. Please wait. In the study class. So the study class I will come back again, right? So when we learn dependent origination, right? Will you want to say something? Just a short. Eh? Okay.
Okay.
Just
now the question or the project I'm doing is that has something to do with the hota, is it harvesting of the organ. All right. When you practice, you will have the last thought moment that will determine your next rebirth. While at the last stage of your life, when you go to disrupt your lifespan, it could be I'm now suffering at my deathbed. I'm exhausting my karma, bad karma. There's such a residual karma that moves off to the next life. So that is my main concern, whether shall I opt for hota or not. But I do know that most people above 60, they don't want. But now they change the rule. Above 60, they still want your organs. So that is my concern. I mean, I'm not anything else. So for this one, it has a very great impact, on what you call it, the government policies to ask for organ donation. Yeah.
Okay, and we were waiting for your article. Very, very, very useful for the medical field. Combining Buddhist study, right? Combining Buddhist study. Okay, so before we learn to classify the basis according to by way of consciousness, so we need to know these 7 elements, right? The 7 consciousness elements. In Buddhism, it is one of the important terms in Buddhism. So in the science, as you all know, that dhātu element means physical one, right? Not mental one. But in Buddhism, we have 2 types, material element as well as mental element, right? So these are 7 mental elements. Not 7, 2 mental element and 5 physical element. So the first one, eye consciousness element, cakkhu viññāṇa-dhātu. Cakkhu viññāṇa-dhātu. So eye consciousness elements, 2 types of eye consciousness are called eye consciousness element, right? You have to know this one. And 2 types of ear consciousness are called ear consciousness element. 2 types of nose consciousness are called nose consciousness element. 2 types of tongue consciousness are called tongue consciousness element. And 2 types of body consciousness are called body consciousness element. So these are physical one. But we also have other physical element. But here we use only 7, right? So mind element. So 5 door advancing consciousness. As you know, the 5 door advancing consciousness and receiving consciousness. So these 3 are called mind element. Sometimes we will call it triple mind element because they are triple, right? 5 door consciousness and receiving consciousness. When you see something, right? So when your eye contact with material form, so the door open, 5 door advancing. Then you see it, eye consciousness, then receive it, receiving consciousness, right? So these 2 are called mind element, that purely the mind mental element, right? Another one is the rest. Up to here, so we have been learning we have been learning 30 consciousness, right? 30 chetas. So all remaining chetas, altogether 76, are called mind consciousness element. Mind consciousness element. Mano viññāṇa-dhātu. But here, the mind, mana also indicate the mind. Viññāṇa also indicate the mind. It is important that so these 76 chetas know the object very clearly. So here we have a 3 level. In the book also is mentioned. So when you read the book, you will see that the level of elements, we are consciousness element. So here, triple mind element, hadaya-vatthu, receiving consciousness. So these are the wicked level of mind, right? The wicked level of consciousness. Suppose somebody come in when we are learning the lessons, open the door, right? Right? The door open. Suppose in the hotels, there are some guy who is standing near the door, right? When the guests come in, they open the door. But those guys, they do not know who they are, right? They may be the guests or they may be robber, right? Like this. They do not know. Just like that, hadaya-vatthu consciousness do not know the object very well. The hadaya-vatthu consciousness and receiving consciousness, they know a little bit about the object, right? But here, eye consciousness, ear, nose, tongue, body consciousness. So these are called 2 set of 5-fold consciousness, right? 2 set of 5-fold consciousness. Vipancha viññāṇa. So these 10 consciousness, they know object better than mind element, right? Better than mind element. But mind consciousness element, 76 mind consciousness element, they know better, right? So because of in that 67, we have a jhana cheta, subramandin cheta, we have a greed, hatred, delusion, right? We know those chetas know the object better than previous 2, right? Okay, so that is I think if you read the book, you will know that one. So that is also the way how the commentary mention, right? Commentary mention. So here we have a 7 consciousness element, mind element. So we have 3 cheta. So all remaining cheta, 76, are called mind consciousness element. Mind consciousness element, right? Okay. Then let's go classification of by way of consciousness, right? Classification of by way of consciousness. Page number 145. 145 and 146. Classification of by way of consciousness. Number 1, unconsciousness element occurs solely depend on I'm base. So we are talking about the base on how to say, we trying to classify the base by way of consciousness, right? So here we have a 89 chetas, right? Look at page number 22, right? Trying to look at page number 22 in case you cannot remember 89. You cannot learn by heart 89. Right? 89. If you already learn by heart, no need to look. Right? So even we go to next chapters, you still have to learn by heart, right? That is very important. So as I earlier said that this is the first chapter is a foundation, right? If we have a very strong foundation, we can go so many stories, right? If you don't have a weak foundation, if we have a weak foundation, then collapse. Collapse me, you drop out. You drop off. Before I start the class, I discussed with one of my students, and he suggested that if I go in this way, many students will drop off. But lucky that you still survive. Huh? I told him, after I finish 9 chapters, if I still have 10 students, I'm very lucky. I hope that 10 students can stay until the class finish, right? Actually, as I said that we are just not just learning Abhidhamma, so-called Abhidhamma. So actually, we are learning Buddhist studies, suttas, the Dhamma from the Sutta Pitaka, right? So I always say that when I teach Abhidhamma Sangha, Miññāṇa Abhidhamma, normally I use so many suttas. So these are Buddhist teachings, right? Buddhist teachings. So I think that is very important. While we are learning, we will know, right? Teachings, the Dhamma from Sutta Pitaka as well. So here, unconsciousness element. That means 2 types of unconsciousness. So they occur solely depends on I'm base, right? If we do not have I'm base or I'm sensitivity, so there will be no unconsciousness, right? Or I element, unconsciousness element, and that is a very easy one. Second, ear consciousness element occurs solely depends on ear base. Ear base. The nose consciousness element occurs solely depends on nose base. If we do not have nose sensitivity, that we cannot experience smelling, right? Smelling. So that is our no consciousness element occurs solely depend on no space. No space. Then tongue consciousness element occurs solely depends on tongue base. So here I noticed the grammatical mistake here. The teacher Lily point out. Here, dependent on, right? So the tongue consciousness element occurs solely dependent on tongue base, right? Tongue base. Then body consciousness element occurs solely dependent on body base, right? Body base. So some people, they cannot experience touching, right? Sometimes it happens that when we touch a part of our body, we cannot experience, right? So when I was young, I have to take medicine, but here I have one mark, and then they come to my village, a group of medical, not doctor, nurses. They came to village and they saw the mark on my ear. Then they touch with the feather. They asked me whether I can experience. I know touching. Sorry? I told no. For that reason, I have to take medicine, right? So my mother always worried that this mark is one of the symptoms of disease happening at the time. So I have to take medicine for, I forgot, maybe about 1 year. So I don't know, it's still very young, so therefore I so know because of that I have to take medicine. So actually I think it's not an actual symptom. So sometimes in our body, in some places, so we cannot experience touching, right? So that means in that part there is no body base, right? Body sensitivity. So in those, if we tap in those part of the body, then there will be no body consciousness element, right? Then recently I read not recently, 1.5 years ago, I read the story of a bhikkhuni from the West, and she talked about her, how to say, the her experience in a critically ill. She think that she's going to die. Then she is a serious meditator, and she actually, I had shared the bhikkhuni Khema, right? Sorry? Huh? Khema, yeah, bhikkhuni Khema from the West. German bhikkhunis. So she shared her stories. I think you can Google bhikkhuni Khema. And she shared her experience. So the life faculty is start to move from the feet, right? From the feet. But she doesn't have any energy to react. But of course there is certain level of energy. Some people use that energy, therefore they scream off or they move, right? Before they die. But in the case of Bhikkhuni Khema, and she just aware what happened in her body, and she is mindful, contemplating on it. Then she let go everything happen in the body. She do not react. So she noted that the life energy, she used the life energy move. Start to move from the foot, right? From the foot. Then she didn't react, just aware and just mindful, just let go what is happening. But she said that she is not suffering. Actually, she is a cancer patient. She said that she is not suffering. And she said that if we practice letting go at the time, the last thought moment is pleasant, not suffering and not suffering. So if we let go, if we practice, if we're mindful, concentrated, and if we let go at the time, no reaction, just mindful. Even mindfulness itself is a reaction, right? It's a reaction. So actually, she is not reacting with the hatred or anger. It's just mindfulness. So she practiced. So she said that by that time she practiced letting go. I think that is the power of meditation, right? Then, surprisingly, she recovered. I don't know, but she said that she's going to die. So light energy is moving back from the foot, right? From the foot. Then if somebody touch her foot at the time, there will be no sensation. She may not know it, right? Because light faculty moved, right? So there are some patients who do not have any blood circulation in the foot or somewhere, right? They do not know. It's bound to say the touching, right? Touching. So that means, so in those body, part of the body, there's no body base or body sensitivity. So there will be no body consciousness element, right? Body consciousness element. So about 5 bases: eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body consciousness element are the physical support for the fivefold consciousness elements. Fivefold consciousness elements. It is called viññāṇa-dhātu. Viññāṇa-dhātu. So this is the name of the previous 5 elements, right? Viññāṇa-dhātu. Fivefold consciousness elements. Okay. Then next one is mind element. So here, mind element means 5 door advancing consciousness and two type of receiving consciousness. Altogether 3, right? Triple mind element occurs independent solely on the heart based. So when we look at the experience of the lady, the car outside, actual car, right? Another car in the eye, but another car in the heart, right? But here, the car in the heart may receive, right, that object. The mind receives that object. It's very quick. She said that look like the same time. She said that look like the same time, right? So she received. The mind received that object, right? That object. And she, surprisingly, she said that when she is aware, the picture or the car in the heart is not moving. She just look at that car. If she went for many hours, if she went, she can just aware the car in the heart for many hours. But at the time she was going on shopping, right? Shopping. So therefore she have to stop it. So that is what she said, right? What she said. Mind, the power of concentration is very powerful, that, right? Then she can concentrate on that car, the image of the car, right? Image of the car. It's just like we call it Paṭṭhī Kasina, right? Kasina. Paṭṭhī Kasina. So the car became Kasina for her, for the mind, right? For our mind. So here, mind element occurs independent solely on the heart. Here, image of the car in the heart. That means the mind receiving consciousness, receive the object, what she see, right? What she see. The last one, mind consciousness element. So we have a 66 chetas. So these mind consciousness element arises with or without heart base. Some chetas arises with the help of heart base. Some chetas, among 76, they arises without the help of heart base. The chetas that arises in the immaterial realm, right? So the cheta will arise without the help of the heart base, because they don't have a heart, right? They don't have a heart. So the mind is very powerful that even without the help of the heart, they can arise. So here, altogether we have a 76 mind consciousness element. So mind consciousness element arises with the help of heart base or without the help of heart base, right? And look at the page number 146, right? So today we will learn these 66. So when you are concentrated, when you are mindful, when you have been learned by heart, 89 cheta is not very easy one. But if you are not mindful and concentrated, cannot remember, right? So we will go mindfully with a full of concentration, right? Okay. Among 66, 30 chetas arise solely dependent on heart base. 30, right? Chetas arise solely dependent on heart base, because these chetas do not occur in the immaterial realms, right? These 30 chetas do not arise, cannot occur in the immaterial realms, in the minds of immaterial Brahmas. So those 30 cheta cannot arise. So therefore, those 30 chetas will solely depend on heart-based, right? Heart-based. That's very important. So those 30 cheta can arise in the human realm. So when those cheta arise in the human, only with the help of heart peace, right? Some of the 30 Chetas may arise in the 5 material Brahma. So when they arise, those Brahmas, so with the help of the heart peace, right? With the help of the heart peace. You got the point? Right? Okay. So that is a very important point. So these Cheda do not arise in the immaterial realms, right? So therefore, they will arise only sensory realms, and also some of the Cheda among them will arise 5 material realms, right? So for that reason, when they arise, sensory realms and 5 material realms, they will arise with the help of heart peace, right? With the help of heart peace. So therefore we use the word solely. That's very important. Only, right? Bhikkhu body use entirely. Entirely depend on heart peace. Okay? So what are so let's look at 30 Chetas. Number 1, 2 hatred-rooted Chetas. So that means these hatred-rooted Chetas have been well suppressed in the Brahma realms, not only in material realms, but also 5 material realms. So there is no hatred-rooted Chetas. So when you become Brahma, no hatred, no anger. That's it, the power of the jhana, right? Meditative mind. So when somebody was born in the Brahma realms, the immaterial Brahma realms, or 5 material Brahma realms, there's no hatred-rooted Chetas, right? So that means, so those hatred-rooted Chetas arises in the sense-sphere realms, right? Sense-sphere realms. So when hatred-rooted Cheta arises in our mind, it will base heart peace, right? It will arises depend on heart peace. Then 3 Chetas. We have to look at these 3 Chetas together. 3 investigating Chetas and smile producing Chetas, 8 great resident Chetas. So these 3 Chetas also solely, entirely, will arise entirely based on heart peace, right? Heart peace. The reason is they do not occur in the immaterial realms. They do not arise even in the 5 material realm as well. So therefore, when you look at this one, 3 investigating Chetas and 8 great resident Chetas, altogether 11, right? Then just forget about smile producing Cheta for a while. 3 investigating Chetas, 8 great resident Chetas, altogether 11. So these 11s are called retentive. Dharamana, right? Retentive. Still remember mind process? And we have a javana. After javana, the object is so strong that you take the same object, you experience the same object. Retentive, right? Retentive. So we have a 3 criteria of retentive. It arises only in the beings, in the sense sphere realms. It takes only sense sphere object. It must be sense sphere javana. 3. Actually, next chapters we have to learn 3 criteria of retentive Cheta, right? Retentive Cheta. So therefore, here they arises only in the beings, sense sphere beings, right? Sense sphere beings. So that means these 11 retentive Cheta cannot arise in the immaterial realms, right? So if the Cheta that do not arise in the immaterial realms, they take entirely, they arises entirely depend on heart-based. Understand? You got it? A little bit. And then just look at in the. I will explain in another way. Forget about mind producing cheda, right? So 3 investigating cheda. So when you look at the mind process, the door open, right? 5 door adverting consciousness, the I consciousness, and receiving consciousness, and investigating consciousness, right? So that means investigating consciousness arises because of the object that you see, right? The object that you see is connected with the senses, I senses, right? So therefore, investigating chedas arises dependent on senses. Sensory object, right? Sensory objects. So that means when immaterial realms, there's no such a sensory object, right? So there's no way investigating cheda will arise in the immaterial realm, right? So in the immaterial realm, so when we look at mind process in the immaterial realm, so that just the mind, right? Then bhavanga, vibrational bhavanga, and arrest bhavanga. Then after that, mind door open, mind door adverting consciousness. Then after that, right away, javana. After javana, there is no retinted cheda. There is no dharamana. The reason is, retinted cheda arise in the beings, right? In the sensory beings, kama satta, right? Kama satta. So when you look at the mind process in the immaterial realms, bhavanga, vibrational bhavanga, arrest bhavanga. After that, mind door open. Then after mind door open, javana right away. There is no investigating, no receiving, right? So no determining. Just after mind door open, then right away javana. Then after javana, bhavanga. That's all. No retentive, right? No retentive. So that means, so when we look at mind process, so investigating chedas will arise dependent on the sensory object. So that means I consciousness arises dependent on I base, right? Then 5 door adverting consciousness, receiving, investigating, determining, they will arise depend on heart base, right? Depend on heart base. Entirely based on heart base. So in material, there's no heart, right? There's no heart. So there's no way for immaterial Brahma to have investigating cheda, right? So therefore, 3 investigating cheda, 8 great resident cheda, altogether 11. So these 11 are called retentive cheda. So these retentive cheda will arise solely and entirely depend on heart base, right? Heart base. Another one is smile producing chedas. So smile producing cheda arises in the minds of Arahant and the Buddha, right? When they see something, when they hear something, they will smile, right? They will smile. And they also smile with other type of consciousness. So in the 6th chapter, we will learn that which type of consciousness we smile, right? We smile. So here, the Buddha and Arahant smile because when they see something, when they hear something, because of a certain reason, right? Certain reason. So therefore, so these mind producing Cheda also, arises entirely depend on habits, right? Only for those who have material form, right? So therefore, altogether, these 12 Chedas in previous session, I don't know whether you still remember previous session. So these 12 Chedas take sense object, right? Sensory object. Only sensory object. So when you remember previous session, so it also clear. 12 Cheda also arises entirely depend on heart-based, right? Heart-based. Another one, 55 material Chedas. 55 material Chedas, right? So these Cheda also arise entirely depend on heart-based, right? Heart-based. The reason is these Cheda do not arise in the immaterial realms. The reason is the Brahma in the immaterial realms, they disgust, they do not like material form, right? Material form. Even the traces of material form. So when we look at how somebody attain immaterial jhana, right? So immaterial jhana can be attained only for those who already achieve or attain fifth jhana, right? So those 5 material jhanas are related to material form, right? Material form. For those who want to attain immaterial jhana, they have to stay away from material form, right? They don't like it. They think that because of material form, they have a lot of problem. But when they meditate, when they attain the fifth 5 material jhana, they noted that those material form in their mind make problem. So they think that when they stay away, run away from those material form, they think that their concentrations, their mindfulness will be stabilized. So therefore, they increase concentrations and mindfulness. Then they attain immaterial jhana. So when they attain immaterial jhana, they don't like 5 material jhana. Just like that. So when you are very young, you go to Kainagari, right? Right now, you want to go and sit down in the Kainagari again? No, right? Just like that. For those who attain immaterial jhana, they don't want to come back, right? They don't want to come back. So that means these 55 material jhana chedas do not arise in the immaterial realms. So therefore, these chedas will arise solely dependent on heart-based, right? Heart-based. So we have to remember a very important rule. So the chedas that do not arise in the immaterial realms, they always arises entirely and solely depend on heart-based, right? Because we have a material form, we have a body, right? Body. So these 30 chedas, they do not arise in the immaterial realms, right? So therefore, they entirely depend on heart-based. Okay? Then the last one, stream entry path cheda, Sotapaddi Magga cheda. So to attain Sotapaddi Magga cheda, one need to listen to the Dhamma. Without listening to the Dhamma, you cannot become Sotapanna, right? You cannot attain stream entry path, right? Stream entry path. In material realms, there's no ear base or there's no ear, nothing, right? Just mind. So there is no ear to listen to the Dhamma. So therefore, there's no chance. One can attain Sotapaddi Magga-cheda, or stream entry path consciousness. So therefore, among the 8 supramundane cheda, stream entry path consciousness cannot arise in the immaterial realms. So therefore, this stream entry path cheda will arise entirely based on habits, right? Entirely depend on habits. But of course, after you attain stream entry path consciousness, then you continue to practice, then you attain Sotapaddi Phala, stream entry fruition consciousness, right? Then you practice and you attain immaterial jhana in the human realm. So when you are living in the human realm, you attain immaterial jhana. So when you die, you have a rebirth in the immaterial jhana, immaterial realms, right? So that means among the 8 supramundane consciousness, 7 supramundane consciousness can arise in the immaterial realms, right? So this stream entry path cheda cannot arise in the immaterial realms. The reason is we need to listen the Dhamma. We need ear. We need eye, right? Sometimes by reading the book, you can become Sotapanna, right? You can attain Sotapaddi. This is also considered as a protocol. We call it in Pali pratokosa. Other people voice, right? Pratokosa means other people voice. So apart from the Buddha and Pacceka Buddha, other people, they need to listen the Dhamma. So that means not only listening the Dhamma, reading as well. In the immaterial realm, no eye as well. So therefore, there is no way to attain stream entry path cheda, right? So altogether, 30 chedas. So these 30 cheda do not arise in the immaterial realms. So therefore, they will arise in the human realm, in the 11 sense sphere realms and 15 5 material realms. So when they arise those realms, solely dependent on heart-based, right? Heart-based. You got it? Okay. Then if you do not understand where, then go and read the book, right? Bhakti book as well as the Usilananda book, right? Usilananda book. Then, Sotapanna, the one who already attained stream entry fruition, is available there. That means in the immaterial realm, right? So among the 76, as you know, we have a mind consciousness element. 76, right? Among the 76, 42 chedas arise with the help of heart base or without dependent on heart base. 42. The reason is, so these 42 cheda can arise in the immaterial realm as well. Not only immaterial realms, but also 5 material realms and sense sphere realms. So I think that time is going to close. Trying to concentrate your mind. Going to finish. Going to finish because that's a very important part, right? Very important part. For those who want to teach Abhidhamma to others, and also for those who are going to take Abhidhamma exam, very important. So you don't need to remember all these one, but just remember why, right? Background, how to say that? It's not, you cannot find in the book, many books, you cannot find those background definition in the many books, right? So when you read Bhikkhu Bodhi book, you will find it very difficult, right? Very concise. The reason is the book is very concise, right? So therefore, please prolong your concentration a little bit, right? Going to finish. So among the 76, 42 Chetas arise in the immaterial realms, sense sphere realms, as well as the 5 material realms, right? So there is 4 Chetas that arise in the immaterial realms only. What are the 4? Still remember? There is only 4 Chetas that arise in the immaterial realms. Still remember? Function. If you remember function, we have 40 function, right? 40 function. So among the 40 function, so 9 sublime resident Cheta. 9 sublime, right? So here sublime means both fine material as well as immaterial. So among the 9, we have 4 immaterial resident Cheta, right? So their function, they perform the function of rebirth linking consciousness. And Bhavanga function, like continuum and rebirth linking and death consciousness. So that means 4 immaterial resident Chetas, they arises only in immaterial realms. They perform the function of like continuum, the function of rebirth linking, the function of death in the immaterial realms. So therefore, those 4 Chetas arises only in immaterial realms. So therefore, these 4 Chetas can arise without the help of any basis. They arise themselves without the help of 6 bases. That is very important, right? That is very important. So previously, among the 76 mind consciousness element, we talk about 30 Cheta, right? So now 4 Chetas, altogether 34. 34 and 42 altogether 76, right? 76. So the reason is I write down that one, then I need to go in order, right? In sequence. So that means 4 immaterial resident Cheta arises in the immaterial realms only. So therefore, those 4 Cheta arises themselves without the help of any basis, right? The reason is in the immaterial realm, no material form, no basis, right? No basis. So the rest of the Cheta are 42, right? These 42 Cheta arises not only in material realms but also other realms as well. So when those 42 Cheta arises in the immaterial realms, so they will arise themselves without the help of any basis, right? So when those 42 Cheta arises in the human realm, in the 5 material Brahma realm, they will arise with the help of heart base, right? So therefore we call it Chetas, 42 Chetas arise with or without dependent on heart base, right? So when they arise in the immaterial realms, so there is no material form in immaterial realms. So therefore, those 42 Cheta arise themselves without the help of basis, right? But when they arise in the human realm, the 5 material realms, they will arise with the basis of heart base. We do not use entirely or solely, right? We just use they will arise dependent on heart base, right? Heart base. So here, solely or entirely is very important, right? Very important. So regarding with the 42 Cheda, we cannot use solely or entirely, right? So they arise in the sense sphere realms and 5 material realms with the help of harpies. But when they arise in material realm without the help of harpies, right? I think to count 42 Chedas, we have to go back to page number 28, in case you cannot memorize, right? Page number, just go to page number 89 Chedas at a glance, right? At a glance. But look at Anhosan Cheda. We have a 12 Anhosan Cheda, right? Among the 30 Cheda, we have learned 2 hatred-rooted Cheda, right? 2 hatred-rooted Cheda. You don't need to count that one. You count, we have a 8 greed-rooted Cheda. And we have a 2 delusion-rooted Cheda. These 10 Anhosan Chedas can arise not only since sphere realm and 5 material realm. It can arise in the immaterial realm as well, because immaterial Brahmas, they still have a greed. But here, greed means greed to jhana, right? They want to attain jhana. They want to stay with the jhana. There's a type of greed, right? And some Brahma, they may have delusion or vaja, ignorance. They think that jhanas are very good. When we look at from the top, Nibbana point of view, even those jhanas are not good. But they do not know it. Lack of knowledge, that is called ignorance, right? Ignorance. So that means in the immaterial realm, 8 greed-rooted Cheda, 2 delusion-rooted Cheda can arise. So therefore, when those 10 Cheda arises in the immaterial realm, they arise themselves without the help of harpies. When they arise on the realm, they will arise with the help of harpies, right? Then look at 80 rootless Cheda. Among the 80 rootless Cheda, we have talked about 2 sets of 5-fold consciousness, right? Altogether 10. We have been talking. We just finished talk about 3 investigating Cheda, right? Altogether 13. And we talk about smile producing Cheda, 14, right? And we talk about mind element. So that means altogether 70, right? We have only one consciousness among the 80 rootless consciousness. What is that one? Sorry? Mind or advancing consciousness. Among the 80 rootless Cheda, there's only one consciousness, only one Cheda that can arise in the immaterial realms. That is mind or advancing consciousness, right? So up to now, we have been talking about 11, right? 11, 10 from the 12,000 Cheda, 1 from the 80 rootless Cheda. So among the 24 beautiful Cheda, since we are beautiful Cheda, now we have talked about 8 great resident Cheda, right? So what are the one we need to call? 8 great wholesome Cheda and 8 great functional Cheda. We finished resident Cheda, right? We just finished resident Cheda in earlier, so that now we just have to count only 8 great wholesome Cheda and 8 great functional Cheda. So only 60 beautiful sincere Cheda can arise in the immaterial realm, right? In the immaterial realm, right? Just go to the we have a 55 material cheda, right? 55 material cheda. So in the immaterial realm, those cheda cannot arise, right? Those cheda cannot arise. The reason is immaterial Brahmas, they do not like material form. So those 55 material cheda arises depending on form, right? So therefore, those 50 we already counted. So among the 12 immaterial cheda, so as we have counted 4 immaterial resident cheda, right? So now we have to count 4 immaterial wholesome cheda, 4 immaterial functional cheda, altogether 8. Only 8 consciousness or cheda can arise in the immaterial realms. So among the 8 supramundane cheda, we already talked about stream entry path consciousness, right? Apart from that one, 7 supramundane consciousness or cheda can arise in the immaterial realms. You got it? Altogether, 42, right? Because not easy. I trust it's not really easy. Maybe just look at it again. Only just another 5 minutes, Another 5 minutes. So, if we look at 12 and wholesome cheda, earlier we talked about 2 hatred-rooted cheda, right? Now we have only 10. 8 greed-rooted cheda and 2 delusion-rooted cheda. So these 10 cheda will arise in the immaterial realms. So when they arise in the immaterial realms, they arise themselves without the help of heart-based. When they arise in other realms, with the help of heart-based. So therefore, in the human realm, as a human beings, when we are angry, the heart beats very, very quick, right? Beat. How to say? Fast, getting faster, right? Because of the blood from the heart, your appearance became red, right? So that is, so hatred-rooted cheda depend on heart beats, right? That is the example. So among the 80 rootless chedas, there's only one consciousness, that is a mind or advancing consciousness, can arise in the immaterial realms, right? So among the sense-sphere beautiful cheda, 24 sense-sphere beautiful cheda, 8 sense-sphere resident cheda takes only sensory object, only sensory objects that cannot arise in the immaterial realms, right? So we have to exclude that one. Then we have only 8 sense-sphere wholesome cheda. We have 8 sense-sphere functional cheda. Altogether 16. So only those 16 can arise in the immaterial realms, right? Immaterial realms. Among the 5 material sphere chedas, 55 material sphere cheda, none of them will arise in the immaterial realms. The reason is those cheda arises dependent on material form. Immaterial Brahma, they do not like material form. They don't want to get, they don't want to, how to say that, they don't want to get 5 material sphere cheda, right? So therefore, they cannot arise. They don't like it, right? They don't like it. So among the 12 immaterial sphere chedas, so as I earlier said that 4 immaterial sphere resident cheda, they arises only in immaterial realms. So they perform the function of rebirth linking the function of bhavanga, and function of death. So therefore, so those four cheda were not, were not depend on any basis. They were arise themselves, right? They were arise themselves. So apart from that four, so four immaterial sphere wholesome cheda, four immaterial sphere functional chedas, they can arise in the immaterial realm. So those 8 cheda can arise in the sense sphere realms, in the 5 material realm as well, right? So among the 8 supramundane chedas, so we have to exclude stream entry path consciousness. The reason is stream entry path consciousness cannot arise in the immaterial realm. The reason is to attain that consciousness, we need to listen the Dhamma. We need to read the Dhamma, right? There's no ear, no eye to listen and to read, right? So therefore, stream entry path consciousness cannot arise in the immaterial realm, right? So we have to exclude that one. So the other seven supramundane consciousness can arise in the immaterial realm as well as other realm as well, right? So when they arise in the immaterial realm, they arise themselves without the help of any basis, right? But when they arise in the human realm, in the heavenly realm, in the 5 material realm, they will arise based on the heart base, right? Independent on the heart base. So therefore, we say that 40 altogether, 42 cheda arise with dependent on heart base, without sometime when they arise in immaterial realm, without depend on heart base. Okay? Actually, the reason is written here. I think I will send out my note, then you can revise, right? When these cheda arise in the immaterial realms, they will arise with dependent on heart base. And when they arise in other realms mean except non-perceptual realm, right? They will arise with the help of heart base. So what are the 42? 8 great rooted chedas, 2 delusion rooted cheda, mind or advancing cheda, 8 great wholesome cheda, 8 great functional cheda, 4 immaterial wholesome cheda, 4 immaterial functional chedas, 7 supramundane cheda, excluding stream entry path cheda. And then you can remember one by one, right? Part by part. And the wholesome cheda, 10. And the 80 related only 1, right? So like this. Altogether 42. So these 42 cheda will arise in the immaterial realm as well as other realms, right? Then I hope you got it, right? It's very difficult, very difficult. If you know the meaning behind, right? It is easier for you to remember. You will not forget, right? You will not forget. So, of course, for the exam, you can still remember the number 42, 34, etc. But later you will forget. But if you know the meaning behind, right? You won't forget. Then the last one, 4 immaterial resident cheda arise without dependent on any of these 6 bases. The reason is those cheda perform function of like continuum, rebirth linking, death in the immaterial realms. Therefore, they arise without depend on any base. They arise themselves, right? Themselves. That's all. We finished that chapter. So I hope you got it, right? Okay, thank you. So time is up. So let's close our lesson. We have an announcement. Please, we have an announcement.
Okay, just keep you for 1 minute. Bhante just mentioned that to attain stream entry path, one needs to listen to the Dhamma. So, we have arranged, there's a numbers of Dhamma talk lying up from the month of May to October. 21st May, a talk by Bhante Buddha. I think some of them have met him last year. He's an African monk from Uganda. His talk title will be Happiness is Free. 28 May, Dhamma talk by Sister Sylvia Bay, Connecting the Dhamma Dots, Understanding Dhamma in Totality. 16 July, Dhamma talk by Bhante Cakkapala, Monastic Life, Past and Present. 6th of August, not confirmed yet. If it's confirmed, the title will be The Core Democratic Values Found in Buddhist Teachings. Speaker is Bhante Chitara. 19 September, there's another talk by Sylvia Bay, but topic not confirmed yet. Once confirmed, you'll make announcement. The last Dhamma talk is on 29 October. Speaker is Bhante Cakkapala. The topic is contentment. All these talks are on Monday night, 7:30 to 9:30 in this hall. Second announcement, Vesak Day is coming soon. It's on the 29th of May. We need volunteers. So if you can volunteer, please write to me or send me your name, and then I will let you know which area you'll be in charge. Right? We need a lot of volunteers for Vesak Day. Even if you are not volunteering, we also hope that you can come and support us. Right? Thank you very much. Let's chant Jatamanava Gata. Put your palms together. Yo vadatam pavaro manu Jesu Sakyamuni Bhagava Gicho Paragato Bala Viriya Samangi Tam Sugatam Saranatam Upemi Ragavi Ragama Nijama Sokam Dhammama Sankatama Patikulang Madhura Mimampa Gunam Suvibatang Dhamma Mimam Saranatamu Ya Dinamahapalamahu Jatusu suci supurisa yogesu Ataca pugala dhammadasate Sanggami mam saranatamu bemi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bhante.